Well, good Thursday evening to you all. Glad to be with you here on a this evening. And I thought it would come on with you guys tonight uh, with this passion of mine to know yourself, to lead yourself well. Um, I've had a number of conversations over the last several days um, with other leaders, others that are helping guide their teams. And one thing we discover, and one thing that I'm passionate about, is helping you know who you are and how you communicate, how you show up, the language that you use, the tone, the energy, um, to help you know yourself well and have understand your own mindset so that you can lead yourself well and then have others that you're going to lead, right? Um, and this is not a quick fix. I wish I could say it was something that I could just flip a switch on. This is something I've intentionally worked on myself for many, many years. But I can tell you now at 50 years old and having been working on myself and incorporating uh, these tools and resources that I include in the Steward Yourself program is it enables you as a leader to get clear on who you are and where your strengths are and where you might have pitfalls and then help your team succeed. And I'm just so thankful when I hear and have the outreaches from former colleagues that reach out to me and appreciate the way I was able to lead them, how I showed up, how I was able to own my own failures, my own struggles, right? To enable them to do well and to step up and to feel like they would want to follow in my footsteps. They would trust me and rely on me, and that I take very seriously. I take that to heart. It's an honor, it's a privilege to be able to pour into others, able to mentor them, to lead them, equip them, because I've gone before them. I'm in those steps, and I really appreciate that. But in order to do that effectively, it's about understanding who you are and really all the skills and abilities. We recorded a podcast last night. It'll come out next week called kind of Understanding Your Superpowers with one of my collaborators, Maurice Evans, and we were talking about your powers, where you're strong, where you're able to help and lead your team. And I wanted to give you an example of one of these things. For those of you that follow along, I talk about the five voices. It's a great tool. It's a resource. And one of these things we were talking about just this week was somebody was saying to their colleague, "Well, I need you to have this done and I want this achieved by a certain date, right?" And what they didn't realize was this person I use this is called a nurturer. A nurturer, this person's a nurturer is a quieter voice. They're not one to necessarily talk about if there's a problem or there's an issue because they want to make sure everything's covered okay, right? And what happens is something else came up and they didn't alert this leader, this person that was directing them, "Hey, there's a problem, there's an issue here." And the leader themselves didn't understand or didn't comprehend, I should say, their understanding of the assignments and things they were working on. So there was just a disconnect. What I'm trying to illustrate, there was a disconnect. So as a leader, if you understand this about your team and you know them well, because you know who you are, you can help them. You can anticipate and get them in the right place. You can help accommodate and integrate them. This was a conversation we had last night on the Business Roundtable podcast. So if you guys are interested, follow, look that up. We'll have a session coming out next week. Again, great conversation. But it just spurred me to think about this and coming on with you guys live tonight because if you're struggling to get people to follow you or to get people to trust you, it's because number one, they might not know all their skills and abilities to the best, you know. And if you know who you are really clearly, and you know, okay, where there may be challenges, I'll give you one for me. One of the things I love is a connector. I love resources. I love materials. I love taking it all in. I'm innovator. I like to try new things, which can be great. However, what I learned when at my previous company I was at, um, I started to introduce these things too many things all at once, and I realized that was not conducive to the organization. It wasn't helping everybody. It was hindering them. Now, I could have gotten my ego hurt in that. I could have, and at this point, and if I was being, I'm being real with you, it did at some point hurt. But what I realized is that when I took my ego out of the way and I realized that as soon as I became aware of it, because I wasn't aware for a while, I could then shift back and say, okay, oh, well, we're going too fast. There's too many things coming in here. It's affecting my team negatively. They were resisting. And so we were in this kind of spiral, if you will, not in a good way. And so, in learning that about myself, now I can help caution and guide other business owners and teams in how they can positively affect their team members, knowing who they are. Uh, for example, I work with some amazingly creative people. They're open to all these different possibilities and ways of doing things, which is great. However, one thing I do and help them is that I realize, okay, they're going to have a hard time narrowing down and making a decision and getting things just lined up. So I help them by getting clear and removing some of these, all these, possibilities. We say, okay, well, that's possible, that's possible. Let's narrow it down and help you make a decision and move forward. So as you know who you are and your strengths and abilities, you can then realize who do you need on your team, how do you get them integrated, how do can you help them succeed and do really well in their position, and not get so much of your ego bothered, or or what I found is also really important is if you give people permission to speak into your life. So as a connector, I love people, I love talking. You guys have me here on every night. I often will tell people, if you've heard me say this story, or if you've heard me go through this or variation, please don't be polite and let me go on for 5 minutes. Just put your hand up or say, David, you've shared this with me before. I've heard this before. And by giving them permission and understanding this is who I am, and that gives them the ability to then speak into my life in a good way. And so then we're not feeling on edge or bothered. It's like, oh, I get it, so I want you to just think about this. This is really one of the things at the heart of Steward Your Business and Steward Yourself, the program that I do for individuals and I incorporate into businesses as well, is we're getting everybody in the right spot, empowering them, and we're not demonizing, we're not minimizing somebody because, oh, well, they just don't do it this way, or they understand. It's like we have to understand their superpowers, their way of being, right? And get them in the right spot. And sometimes it's just tweaking it a little bit. But if you have an ego, or you feel defensive, or you have to know it all, that's a problem. And so, again, as you know yourself really well, right, then you're going to be able to adjust and pivot and be able to then let the ego go and be in a place where you can serve, lift up others, come from what I call a servant's heart, and being able to care for those around you. And those are the people that are going to follow you. Honestly, if the people feel they're loved, they're cared for, that you're showing kindness, appreciation, right? And it's genuine, it's not forced, it isn't this, it's because you know who you are. And this, in my program, I start with mindset, because you have to understand who you are and understand and appreciate and love and know who you are and embrace that and recognizing that, okay, I'm full, I'm getting out of the of a pit or a place of what I call darkness, or of scarcity, and I'm moving to a place of abundance, and I know who I am and what I can contribute and how I can help others. So that's my message for you tonight. If you're feeling stuck in this area, like, man, David, I really want to be like that, but I just don't. And I honestly rub people the wrong way, or I just don't feel like I'm getting, maybe I'm okay, but I'm not really getting the engagement I thought I could with my team. And I want to have more following and collaborating with me, because I just have a lot. I really have a lot to give. I really care, and I have a feel of a lot to offer. Please reach out to me. This is why I come on live. I want to share with you guys my insights and help others get unstuck to really lead themselves well. We are desperate in this world for people that are taking ownership and leading themselves well, and then they can positively affect others in the world, leading themselves, leading their wife, leading their children, leading their community, leading their coworkers. We desperately need leaders. We desperately need people that are willing to step up and say, "No, I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to step up, and by taking ownership of myself, I can then positively affect affect those around me." So I hope that encouraged you tonight, and I hope that if it resonates with you and you feel like, man, I could be greater. Maybe even I'm good, I'm decent, but I feel like I could really take that next level, and I'm just looking for somebody that's been maybe a little further along the journey. Then I welcome you. I invite you to reach out to me and let's have a conversation and let's find out how I can help you and see if there's a good fit in the resources and the tools and the program I have and the environment that I've created. I've dedicated to helping and supporting you. So I appreciate you guys just jumping on tonight and spending a little time with me as I share this. This is passionate about me, about knowing yourself to lead yourself and your team well. And until next time, have an amazing night. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.